Hi, this is Tracy Sparrowhawk here, candidate for the People's Party of Canada in the Regina Qu'Appelle riding. And I just have a quick question for you. Do you trust Andrew Scheer to keep his promises if he gets elected? We've already seen that he's broken a couple of promises already. One, to balance the budget within 2 years. Now he's saying it will take longer than that because of the debt that the Trudeau government has run up. And, while I can agree with that, there's a lot of debt that and irresponsible spending and corruption in the Liberal government. The fact that Andrew Scheer says that he can't balance the budget for 5 years means that he's looking to get a second term, and he's not promising to do anything to rein in the spending. So something else that just came out recently was around a particular tax credit that Andrew Scheer was promoting when he was running for the leadership spot of the Conservative Party. In 2017, Andrew Scheer proposed a tax credit for parents who send their kids to private school. And what he would do is give them a tax credit up to $4,000 for a break on their tuition. And he would also give parents who homeschool their kids up to $1,000 credit. So that's all fine and good. It's, people have various reasons to send their kids to private schools, and there's different types of private schools that are available. And I'm not sure if you know about all of them or understand what the differences are. There's the religious private schools like Jewish, Christian, Catholic private schools. Then there's also schools that are not religious. And these are more based around like a philosophy of teaching method that isn't really a conventional classroom type setting. So these would be like Waldorf private schools and Montessori schools. So the difference here, when I did a little bit of research, was in a Waldorf school. The aim is to educate the whole child, the intellectual, the practical, and the artistic side. And most schools in this category are preschool or elementary. So once kids get older, if they go have middle school, they would go to middle school, or they would just graduate into high school. So a Montessori school is an alternative school, and what it does is it tries to get kids to develop their interests in all curricular areas. They do lots of self-directed work with the kids. The teachers aren't really, teaching in the traditional sense. They're letting their kids work at their own pace and work on projects that interest them, either on their own or in small groups. So, depending on your philosophy, you might decide to send your kids to these types of schools. And parents choose private schools based on the desire to have their kids within a specific peer group, or they want to focus, maybe they think the discipline is better in private school. They want them to have the religious portion of it or the faith-based portion of it that they won't get in public school. Or it just might be a philosophical belief that they have that they want to put their kids in private school. And that's all well and good. Now, because it's private school and they don't really get too much funding from the public, parents have to pay tuition fees on top of a lot of other fees. And tuition can range anywhere from, $4,000 a year up to more than $100,000 a year. And that would be per student. So it just depends on the type, where the school is, if it's a real prestigious school, and all that, and what their requirements are. And private schools can be a little bit picky in the type of kids that they want to bring in, because you're paying for it. They can have a little bit more of a say on the type of person that they're looking for, that they want in their school. And studies have shown actually that private kids who are educated in private schools they score significantly higher, especially in high school, on standardized tests than kids that are educated in the public system, especially in subjects like reading, math, science. And this is at age 15 when this particular study was done. Um, I'm just reading some notes here that I gathered in my little research on why parents choose private school and private. Some of the statistics that they found about private schools is that students in private schools tend to come from two-parent homes with both biological parents there, and usually a two-income family with the parental income was higher, more educated, and they generally come from homes where there's more focus on academics and books and computers, and they live in an urban area. So those are some of the type of kids, that would attend a private school. Like, that's just a general thing. Of course, it can range. There's probably, if there's probably scholarships available to kids who may not have the financial means, but they have the character that the school's looking for, or the grades to get in. So there's other ways that kids can enter into private school. Now, Andrew Scheer, getting back to Andrew Scheer, the Conservative Party is very good at offering boutique tax credits that appeal to certain segments of the population. Not all people can take advantage of these types of tax credits. Before Trudeau was elected, the Conservatives had a tax credit for parents who put their kids in sports or art activities, and you could get a tax credit for a portion of the fees that it cost. And I think this helped to increase participation in sports, because at the competitive level, it's getting pretty expensive. Even for a game like soccer, where all you need is a field and a ball and a net, you don't even need a lot of equipment. The fees for that are getting pretty expensive, whether it's indoor or outdoor. So, the tax credit really helped. I also had, when my daughters were younger, I have 4 daughters, and at one point 4 of them were involved in dance. So those costs are not cheap, especially when you start adding in costumes for competition and, all the competition fees. But, it was something that, we were able to offer them, and it was nice to get a little bit of a tax break. I'm not going to lie on that. But having said that, single people don't get to take advantage of these little extra tax breaks that are, designed for certain specific groups. Now, when Andrew Scheer was campaigning, like I said, when he was looking to become leader of the Conservative Party, he offered this tax credit to parents who choose to send their kids to private school, or a smaller tax break for parents who chose to homeschool their kids. And not the majority of parents don't send their kids to private school. They send them to public school. So they don't get a tax break on sending their kids to public school or Catholic school that isn't a private school. But the interesting thing is, as of a couple of days ago, I read an article on iPolitic, and I guess the Conservatives have decided to scrap this particular tax credit for parents. And the interesting thing is they're blaming the Liberals. So I guess when they put this forward as part of their platform that they would be going ahead with this tax credit, the Liberals did some number crunching and came back and said, oh, this is going to cost, I think, $600 million. And so instead of the Conservatives laughing at the Liberals and saying, who are you to tell us about irresponsible spending or, corruption or just spending on, frivolous things, who are you to tell us about that and laugh at them about it and stand their ground? What do? They decide to scrap it. And what else do they do? They decide to blame this on the Liberals, saying because of the huge number of the huge deficit that Canada is in now, they just can't afford it because the Liberals claim that this tax credit would cost billions of dollars a year and was an unnecessary subsidy to wealthy families. So basically they were trying to pit the rich against the poor and show that the wealthy are getting a little bit more of a tax break than, lower income or middle class families. So it's really interesting that right away, Andrew Scheer and the Conservatives just cave to the Liberals and decide to scrap this tax, basically telling families of faith who choose to send their kids to private faith-based schools and families that want to have an alternative education for their kids. Basically, he's throwing them under the bus now, and he's alienating that group of people. And I don't know if parents were really paying attention, like people who are conservative supporters were paying attention to this tax credit and were looking forward to it. Maybe they even forgot about it because it wasn't really highlighted as something that the Conservatives were going to do. Like, it wasn't in the news at all until they decided they weren't going to do it. And I just think it's interesting that he can pull this tax credit, but he has money for extra money for health care spending and social program spending. So where is this money coming from that he has? Just curious here. Why can he find the money for that? Why can he find money to send to Saudi Arabia, foreign aid to help them when they're not buying any of our meat? They've taken their students home and their doctors home. Why are we considering sending them foreign aid? Where is the money coming from for the resources that Andrew Scheer claims that we need for the immigrants that are coming here, which he also hasn't put a number on for how many he would be willing to accept into Canada? Is he still going to go with the 350,000 that the Liberals were proposing, or does he have a different number? We don't know because he hasn't said. And he was on a news program recently where he said it's not a question of the number of people coming in, it's the resources that are available to them. So translate resources into money spent on whatever, and where is he going to find the money for that? Like, those are just interesting things to be aware of when you're looking at what the different parties are proposing and why they're proposing, and questions that you need to be asking yourself. Now, as a candidate for the People's Party of Canada, Maxime Bernier has put some very straightforward proposals in his platform about, cutting taxes for personal as well as corporate income tax. He's put a number on the how many immigrants will be allowed into Canada and the type of immigrant that we are looking for. Basically, economic immigrants who are, who have the skills that we need in Canada. We're not just bringing people over to work at Tim Hortons or any other fast food or retail place. We want skilled workers. And we don't want 350,000 of them. We only want 100 or 150,000 max. And we don't want them to bring all their family over after they get here, their parents and grandparents and cousins and uncles. That family reunification will end as well as birth tourism. Did you know birth tourism is very high and it's very rampant in especially BC, in Vancouver, where Chinese people will come over, or Asian people come over. They pay to have their kid here, their baby here, so they can get a birth certificate, citizenship, and a passport, and then they go home. So that will end as well. And there's several other platforms that Maxime Bernier has put forth, and I would encourage you to go check them out at the peoplesparty.ca website. If you have any questions or concerns for me, please feel free to leave it in the comments, and I will leave a link to the party in there so you can go check out the platform, as well as a link to my Facebook group for the Regina Capel area. So if you want to join that group, that's wonderful. It doesn't matter if you're in the Regina Capel riding or not. We look forward to anyone joining, because I want to keep you up to date on what's going on with our campaign, as well as what is happening on the political landscape in Canada as we get closer to the election. Election day is October 21st, and it's ramping up. It's coming really fast now that summer is almost over. And yeah, just leave me a comment on anything below. I look forward to reading them and interacting with you. And yeah, thanks for hopping on and for listening. If you like this video, please share it with friends and family. If you have people that are Conservative Party supporters, you might want to share this video with them as well, and just get them to look at what Andrew Scheer is saying, what he's going, the policies he's coming out with, and how do they make sense? How can he find money for increased health spending, yet at the same time decide to cut a tax that would benefit some families that would be voting for him, especially when you think about it. It's more social conservatives that usually send their kids to a faith-based school, and those are the conservatives' kind of backbone of their party. But it seems like he doesn't really want to hear from them, or doesn't really care about them. So under a PPC government, you'll have more money in your pocket to send your kids to private school if you like, and not worry about the cost. Maybe even more families, if they have more money in their pocket, will look at private school as an option for their kids as well. So anyway, I just wanted to share some thoughts about this with you. And thanks for watching, and I will talk to you again on the next video. Bye.